Business University Challenge. Asking the questions, Jeremy Paxman.
Hello, now is not the time to rest ye merry gentlemen and women, because there's a place in the final match of this competition for whichever team wins tonight. This is the first of two semi-finals. They're being contested by the four winning teams with the highest scores from the first round. Now, Trinity Hall, Cambridge won their first match against St Peter's College, Oxford, by a very comfortable margin of 180 to 85. Again tonight, they're being represented by a noted statistician, a stage and screen actor. Their captain is the Guardian's television critic, and their fourth player is an award-winning director of films about performers. And even though we met them only the night before last, we'll still get them to introduce themselves in the time-hallowed fashion.
Hello, I'm Philip David. I graduated in mathematics in 1966. Now I'm an emeritus professor of statistics.
Hello, I'm Sophie Winkleman. I graduated in English in 2001 and I'm now an actress.
And this is their captain.
Hi, I'm Lucy Mangan. I graduated in 1997 in English and I'm now a journalist and author.
Hello, I'm Tony Palmer. I first graduated in 1964. I subsequently made films, my critics say far too many, and I'm now a retired old age pensioner.
Now, the team from Wadham College, Oxford, had a similarly comfortable win over Birmingham City University in their first round match, winning by 160 points to 75. Their team remains unchanged. First, a columnist who also writes thrillers, with him a specialist in diseases of the brain. Their captain is a leading journalist and frequent television and radio broadcaster. And their fourth player is a former big noise in television news. Let's meet the team again.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Friedland. I studied philosophy, politics and economics in the late 1980s, and I'm now a columnist for The Guardian.
Hello, I'm Tom Solomon. I graduated with medicine in 1990. I'm now Professor of Neurology at the University of Liverpool and the Walton Centre NHS Trust, and I recently published a popular science book, Roald Dahl's Marvellous Medicine.
And their captain?
Hello, I'm Anne McElvoy. I read German and philosophy at Wadham about the same time as Tom was there. I've been a foreign correspondent and a political columnist, and I'm now senior editor at The Economist, and I run its podcasting.
Hello, I'm Roger Mosey. I read modern history and modern languages at Wadham in the late 1970s. I'm now master of Selwyn College, Cambridge.
The rules are the same as ever. If you don't know them, you shouldn't be here. So 10 points at stake. Fingers on the buzzers, please. Which enduring fictional character has been played on screen by Alfred Molina, John Malkovich, Kenneth Branagh, Peter...
What a Mosey!
Poirot.
Poirot is correct. Your bonuses are on National Trust properties famed for their snowdrops. Firstly, which ruined Cistercian Abbey in North Yorkshire is noted for snowdrops planted along the banks of the River Skell, which joins the Eure near Ripon?
I think it's Revo.
Revo Abbey.
No, it's Fountains Abbey. According to the National Trust website, swathes of snowdrops carpet the pleasure grounds at Petworth House, a 17th century mansion in which ceremonial county?
Sussex.
Which bit?
East or west?
Come on.
East Sussex.
No, it's West Sussex. Bad luck.
The other one.
Too late. 5 points for this. Set high above the River Thames, which former home of the Astor family has a web page dedicated to Snowdrop Watch?
Clifton.
Clifton is correct. 10 points for this. I need the given name and surname here. Of which politician born in 1836 did Winston Churchill say that he made the weather? A proponent of tariff reform, he was the father of Churchill's immediate predecessor as Prime Minister. You may not confer. One of you can buzz.
Wadham Friedland.
Joseph Chamberlain.
Correct. Right, these bonuses are on a literary style. Coined in the 1920s, which two-word term describes a literary style in which naturalistic detail and narrative are combined with surreal or dreamlike elements? You don't need to buzz.
It's ours to confuse.
Two words.
Two words. Give us a key word to know.
Is it magic realism?
Try that.
Magic realism.
Magic realism.
Magical realism is correct. Considered a major example of magical realism, which 1967 novel tells the story of 7 generations of the Buendia family?
Yeah. Is it Love in the Time of Cholera?
Not sure.
100 Years of Solitude. Which one? I don't know. Try Love in the Time of Cholera.
7 generations. Try 100 years.
100 years.
100 Years of Solitude.
Correct. A relative of a deposed Chilean president, which author has used magic realism in works such as The House of the Spirits and The Stories of Eva Luna?
Isabel Allende.
Correct. 10 points for this. Willard Libby was awarded the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1960 for developing which method of estimating the age of organic or fossilized material?
Wadham Solomon.
Carbon dating.
Correct. These bonuses are on pantomime. In the Old Vics pantomime production in 2004, Sir Ian McKellen made a notable appearance as which character in Aladdin?
Widow Twankey.
Oh, yes, it was. It was Widow Twankey. By what name, secondly, was the music hall performer George Wilde Galvin better known? Born in 1860, he appeared in pantomimes at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane from 1888 until his early death in 1904.
So it's well known. Pantomime.
Garrick, Keane, Wolfit. One of those. Do you have any?
I don't know.
You could try Donald
Just go for
Wolfit. I think
it.
it's wrong.
Wolfit.
Donald Wolfit.
Donald
No, it was Dan Leno. 5 points for this. The Mother Goose collection of the 1690s is a source of which pantomime concerning an anthropomorphic animal who helps his impoverished master to become the Marquis of Carabas?
You sure it's not doing it? It's got an animal in it. The animal helps.
He says Mother Goose, which is itself an pantomime.
Come on.
Goose, what do you want? Dick Whittington.
No, it's Puss in Boots. 10 points for this. Which country is this? Its cities include Shymkent and Pavlodar. Its highest point is a peak in the Tian Shan at about 7,000 metres, while its lowest is below sea level in the Caspian Depression. It is the world's largest landlocked country.
Wadham Solomon.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan is correct. These bonuses are on European queens, Wadham. Which Mediterranean island was ruled by queens called Charlotte and Catherine Cornaro in the 15th century and by Queen Elizabeth II from 1952 to 1960?
Malta.
No, it's Cyprus. During the 14th and 15th century, Joan I and II were queens of which Italian kingdom, named after a city? It was ruled by Joan the Mad, Queen of Castile, after the death of her father, Ferdinand II, in 1516.
Naples is a kingdom.
Naples.
Naples is correct. And finally, queens of which country have included Christina, the daughter of Gustavus Adolphus, and Ulrika Eleanor, who succeeded her brother Charles XII in 1718?
Denmark.
No, it's Sweden. Right, we're going to take a picture round now. For your picture starter, you're going to see a parliamentary constituency highlighted in red within its county. For 10 points, I want you to name the person who served as its MP from 1970 to 2019.
Wadham Mosey.
Kenneth Clarke?
It was Kenneth Clarke, yes. You'll recall he was among the Conservative MPs from whom the party's whip was withdrawn in 2019. For your bonuses, you're going to see highlighted in red parliamentary constituencies that each saw their MP change party affiliation or lose their party whip during 2019. 5 points for each MP you can name. Firstly,
It's Liverpool.
Luciana Berger.
Correct, in Liverpool Wavertree. Secondly,
Where are we?
Is that Hertfordshire? Could it be David Gork? I don't know. Is it Hertfordshire and David Gork? I don't know.
David Gork.
no, it's Philip Hammond. That's Runnymede and Weybridge. And finally,
Kate Hoey? No, she didn't.
The Chukaramuna, sort of stretching.
Oh, yeah, it could be
Chukaramuna.
Chukaramuna and Streatham is correct, yes. There's plenty of time to get going, Trinity Hall. 10 points at stake for this. Laying claim to the biggest monastic cloisters in England, which cathedral temporarily installed a full-size helter-skelter in its nave in the summer of 2019 to enable visitors...
Trinity Hall, Palmer.
Salisbury.
No. You lose 5 points, I'm afraid. That wasn't the start we were looking for. Summer of 2019 to enable visitors a closer view of more than 1,000 medieval roof bosses.
Wadham.
Rochester.
No, it's Norwich. 10 points for this. Founded in 1985, which group of anonymous activists and artists produced a poster portraying a female nude wearing an animal mask underneath the caption, "Do women have to be naked to get into the..."
Trinity Hall, Mangan.
Peter.
No, you lose 5 points, I'm afraid. Do women have to be naked to get into the Met Museum, known by...
Wadham, Friedland.
Guerrilla Girls.
Guerrilla Girls is correct, yes. Right, you get 3 bonuses on scientific terms that begin with the letters AZ. Firstly, the prefix azo, appearing, for example, in the name of compounds known as azo dyes, refers to which gas, originally so called because of its inability to sustain life?
Does it begin with AZ?
Begins with AIZO, I think.
No, it's AZ is the letters.
Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
Argon.
No, it's nitrogen. What term used in astronomy derives ultimately from the Arabic for way or direction?
So it's AZ, it's astronomy.
Where would direction would be?
Think of any astronomical terms.
Come on.
I don't know any
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
No, it's azimuth. And finally, the blue mineral azurite is the carbonate of which transition metal?
There's so many, but copper maybe. There's certainly transition metal. Go for copper.
Copper.
Copper is correct. 10 points for this. Which year saw the publication of Germaine Greer's The Female Eunuch, the release of the films Kes, Mash and Pattern, a general...
Trinity Hall, Winkleman.
1977.
No, you lose 5 points. A general election win for Edward Heath and the...
Wadham.
1970.
1970 is correct, yes. Your bonuses are on mnemonics, perhaps useful in London. CAB, cab, is a memory aid for which 3 successive bridges over the Thames? From east to west, they could be summarised as football club, royal consort and former power station.
Chelsea, Albert, Battersea.
Chelsea, Albert, Battersea.
Correct. Little apples grow quickly, please, refers to 5 theatres on Shaftesbury Avenue. Which theatre does the word grow represent here? Formerly the Globe, it was renamed after a prominent actor.
The Garrick.
No, it's the Gielgud Theatre. Not quite Lennon-McCartney, but our top hit could still be Lambada. This is the Londonist magazine's suggested mnemonic for Zone 1 stations on which line? Lennon-McCartney being Lancaster Gate and Marble Arch.
It's the Central Line.
It is the Central Line, you're right. Right, we're going to take a music round now. For your music starter, you'll hear an excerpt from an opera. For 10 points, please give me the title of the opera.
Trinity Hall, Palmer.
Carmen.
It is, that's Seguidilla. the crowd go mad! Performed by the dramatic soprano Jessie Norman, who died in 2019. Your music bonuses are 3 more recordings by Norman. This time I want the name of the composer of each opera. Firstly...
I've got a Verdi from up here. Go for it. Okay. Verdi?
No, that's Beethoven. That's part of Fidelio. Secondly...
Who should we go with?
Strauss.
What language? I've got a Strauss. Go for it. Strauss.
It is Richard Strauss, yes. That was from Ariadne auf Naxos. And finally...
I've got 2 Wagners. Wagner.
It is Wagner, yes, it's from Tannhauser. Right, 10 points for this. Which celestial body do all of these deities represent? Firstly, the Shinto goddess Amaterasu. Secondly, the Hindu god Surya, the Norse god Freya, and the Egyptian god Ra.
Wadham.
The sun.
The sun is correct, yes. Right, these bonuses are on pairs of surnames that differ only in their initial letters. For example, Kyle and Lyle. I want you to give both surnames from the clues you'll hear. Firstly, a lyricist who popularised the phrase short, sharp shock in a production of 1885, and a mathematician who proposed a set of 23 unsolved problems from 1900.
Couldn't have another syllable, another name. Lyricist.
I'm sure I can't imagine. Short mathematician. Oh, it's one so would it be Sullivan and Gilbert and Sullivan? So there were Gilbert, is Sullivan and
Another name beginning.
Let's have an answer, please.
Gilbert and Filbert.
Come on.
Gilbert and Filbert has been suggested to me.
No, it's Gilbert and Hilbert. Secondly, a Lord Chancellor under Henry VII who gives his name to a form of false dilemma, and the Boston-born actor who starred in The Painted Veil and American History X.
So, American History X is Edward Norton. Yeah.
Morton's Fork?
Morton and Norton.
Sorry, Morton and Norton. Did
I can't
screw
accept
it up?
that. Morton and Norton. I have to accept your
Yeah.
first answer, and you didn't say Morton and Norton then. 2 female writers born a century apart. One created the character John Galt. The other published A Winter in Majorca about her liaison with Chopin.
Okay, so the first one is Ayn Rand.
Rand and Sand.
Yes, Rand. So Rand and Sand.
Rand and Sand.
Correct. 10 points for this. Who's being described? Born in Bologna in 1922, is the author in the 1950s of novels including The Ragazzi and A Violent Life. As a director, his films in the following decade included Pigsty and The Gospel According to St. Matthew.
Trinity Hall, Palmer.
Pasolini.
Pasolini is correct, yes. Right, your bonuses this time are on a prominent family. Born in Suffolk, who made her first speech on the subject of women's suffrage in 1868 and in 1897 became president of the National Union of Women's Suffrage Societies?
Pankhurst. Emmeline. Do we have to say? Emmeline Pankhurst.
No, she was born in Manchester. It's Millicent Fawcett. In 1867, Fawcett's husband, Henry, seconded an amendment to the Second Reform Bill that would have extended the franchise to women. Which leading thinker proposed the amendment?
Stuart Mill? That was too early, wasn't it? Wilberforce?
No, it was John Stuart Mill. And finally, in 1865, Fawcett's elder sister, Elizabeth, became the first British woman to be granted a licence to practice what profession?
Medicine. Or law? Medicine. Definitely. I don't know. Medicine.
Medicine is correct. 10 points for this. What four words follow "I summon up" in the second line of Shakespeare's sonnet number 30? In the 1920s, C.K. Scott Moncrief used the phrase for the title of his translation of Proust's À la recherche du temps perdu.
Wadham Friedland.
Remembrance of things past.
Correct. Your bonuses, Wadham, this time are on plants. In each case, identify the following. The three answers are also abstract nouns or adjectives with positive connotations. Firstly, Lunaria annua, with distinctive translucent seed heads that are flat and rounded in shape. Its name also refers to the quality of being open and transparent.
Lucid.
Come on.
Lucid.
No, it's honesty. Armeria maritima, sometimes called the sea pink, from its shoreline habitat. It appeared on the Threepenny Bit from 1937.
It's got to be a positive word. Honesty, trust, truth.
Pink on a beach.
It's got to be a quality.
Come on.
Strength.
No, it's thrift. Commonly used at Christmas. Evergreen plants of the genus Picea with needle-like leaves. Their name is also a word meaning tidy or well-groomed.
Spruce.
Spruce.
Spruce is right. We're going to take another picture round. For your picture starter, you'll see a photograph of a sports person. 10 points if you can name him.
Wadham Friedland.
Owen Morgan.
It is indeed. The famous cricketer who captained the England team to victory in this summer's Cricket World Cup. For your bonus questions, you're going to see photographs of three more of the tournament's outstanding performers. 5 points for each you can identify. Firstly, name this player who was the tournament's leading wicket-taker.
That is Mitchell Stark.
I'm going to nominate Jonathan Freeland.
I think that's Mitchell Stark.
It is Mitchell Stark, yes. Secondly, name this player who scored the most runs in the competition.
Any Indian cricketer? Give us an Indian cricketer.
Well, you can try Virat Kohli, but it's not him.
I'm nominating you. Sorry, Jonathan Freeland.
With no confidence, I'm offering Virat Kohli.
No, it was Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
And finally, this player who was named player of the tournament.
Nominating Freeland.
Kane Williamson.
It is Kane Williamson, yes. Right, 10 points for this. Dwarf trees and shrubs, sedges, mosses and lichens are the main vegetation of which widespread zone with permanently frozen subsoil found mainly in...
Trinity Hall, David.
Tundra.
Tundra is correct, yes. Your bonuses are on the films of Buster Keaton, a stunt in the 1928 film Steamboat Bill Jr., in which the facade of a house falls around Keaton, inspired the 1997 short film Deadpan, by which artist and film director?
Deadpan. 1997. 1997. No, we don't know.
That was by Steve McQueen. Secondly, Keaton's 1923 film Three Ages featured interwoven love stories set in three different eras. It was a satire on which D.W. Griffith's movie of 1916?
The Birth of a Nation. Is it Birth of a Nation? Or there was one other he did.
Well, not then, 1916.
Birth of a Nation.
No, it was Intolerance. What name is given to the steam locomotive in the title of Buster Keaton's 1926 film set during the American Civil War?
Steamboat Willie. Steamboat Willie?
No, it's the general. 10 points for this. In familiar quotations from the Book of Exodus, Coleridge's Kubla Khan and Shakespeare's Macbeth, the name of what foodstuff precedes honey, paradise and human kindness?
Wadham Mosey.
Milk.
Milk is correct, yes. You get a set of bonuses on Anita Bruckner. Firstly, during her career as an art historian, Bruckner published a study in 1980 of which French neoclassical painter, whose works include The Oath of the Horatii and The Death of Marat.
Courbet.
No, it's David. As well as being the first woman to be appointed Slade Professor of Art at Cambridge University, Bruckner also taught at which art institute where she had earlier studied for her doctorate?
Le Courtauld.
Correct. Quote, it was late September, out of season. The tourists had gone, the rates were reduced. This is the setting for which of Bruckner's novels, first published in 1984?
Hotel du Lac.
Correct. 10 points for this. Johann, Elizabeth, Thomas and Christian are members of which eponymous family in a
Trinity
novel...
Hall David.
Bach.
No, in a novel of 1901, you lose 5 points. It recounts the decline of a North German merchant family loosely based on the author's own.
Wadham Mosey.
Buddenbrooks.
Buddenbrooks is correct. You get a set of bonuses on British popular music. In each case, name the city in which the following acts originated. Firstly, Soft Cell, the Sisters of Mercy and the Kaiser Chiefs.
Sheffield.
No, it's Merseyside, either Southport.
Kaiser Chiefs or Sheffield?
Well, then you should go for that.
Really sure. Kaiser, I think.
Okay, go for it. Sheffield, yeah.
Sheffield.
No, it's Leeds. Secondly, Engelbert Humperdinck, Showaddywaddy and Kasabian.
Leicester. Sure.
Yes.
Leicester.
That is Leicester, yes. And finally, Deacon Blue, Primal Scream and Franz Ferdinand.
They're all from Scotland.
Scottish. Glasgow.
I would say Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Glasgow is correct. 10 points for this. Noted for his parsimonious fiscal policies, which 18th century French Minister of Finance gives his name to an inexpensive art form consisting of an outline portrait in profile?
Wadham Friedland.
No, I don't know the name of the person, but I was going to say Silhouette.
Too late. Silhouette is correct, though. Well, Trinity Hall, you never got a chance to get going. You're capable of much better than that, as we've already seen recently. But thank you very much for joining us. Somebody had to win, and they did so convincingly. So many congratulations to you, Wadham. We look forward to seeing you in the final. Congratulations.
Well done, guys.
I hope you can join us next time for the second semi-final. Until then, though, it's goodbye from Trinity Hall, Cambridge.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Wadham College, Oxford.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.